You're at a bar. Someone orders cognac. You order brandy. The bartender charges them triple. Same amber liquid, same glass, same warm burn going down. So how did one become a $200 luxury while the other stayed a $20 commodity? Here's what they don't tell you. Cognac wasn't invented for the elite. It was a desperate hack to stop wine from rotting on ships. Let's explore the process. The story begins in the 1600s with Dutch merchants facing a serious problem. They were shipping French wine across the sea, but the wine kept spoiling before reaching customers. Weeks on rocking ships turned good wine into expensive vinegar, barrels going sour in dark cargo holds. The Dutch solution was distillation. Boil the wine down, concentrate the alcohol. Higher alcohol meant the liquid wouldn't spoil. They called it brandy wine, burnt wine. The plan was simple. Ship the concentrated spirit, add water back when it arrived. Cheaper to transport, impossible to spoil. But the Charente region in southwest France had something unexpected. The local wine was thin and acidic, almost unpleasant to drink on its own. Nobody wanted it as wine. But for distillation, those exact flaws made it absolutely perfect. At first, this distilled spirit was just a practical product. Ship it fast, sell it cheap, move on. But something unexpected happened during the long waits between shipments. Barrels sat in warehouses for months, sometimes years, forgotten in dusty corners. When traders finally cracked them open, the liquid had transformed. What went in, harsh and clear, came out smooth and golden. The oak was working quiet magic. The spirit pulled vanilla and caramel from the wood. Oxygen crept through the grain, softening the alcohol's sharp bite into something rounder, warmer. Merchants noticed that longer aging meant higher prices. Nobody planned this, but accidents become traditions. By the late 1600s, the town of Cognac became the center of this experiment. Time itself became an ingredient. But a problem nearly killed this spirit before it truly began. The liquid was wildly inconsistent. Same grapes, same copper still, same warehouse. Completely different results. Temperature swings made aging unpredictable. A barrel against the north wall aged differently than one baking near the south window. Hot summers accelerated everything. Cold winters slowed it down. Worse still, the spirit evaporated straight through the wood. Producers watched inventory disappear into thin air, a sweet, funky smell hanging in warehouse rafters. They called it the angel's share. It claims up to 3% of every barrel, every single year. A spirit aged 20 years might lose half its original volume to the sky. The economics were brutal. You're paying to store liquid that's slowly vanishing. But here's the kicker. The grape that makes the best cognac produces wine so thin no sommelier would serve it. Ugni Blanc has high acidity, low sugar, practically no character. And that's exactly what makes it perfect. When you distill wine, you concentrate everything inside it. Rich wine becomes overwhelming spirit, like turning volume up until speakers blow. But thin Ugni Blanc distills into something clean and neutral. A blank canvas that absorbs whatever the oak wants to give. The grape's weakness became Cognac's greatest strength. Producers also solved inconsistency through blending. Instead of selling unpredictable single barrels, master blenders mixed spirits of different ages. One batch harsh, another mellow. Blend them, balance. Today, cognac production follows rules unchanged for centuries. Wine ferments for about 3 weeks, reaching 8 or 9% alcohol. Then it enters copper pot stills for double distillation. First pass produces cloudy liquid around 30%. Second pass concentrates it to 70%. Crystal clear and harsh enough to make your eyes water. This raw spirit then enters French oak barrels from specific forests. Limousin oak with loose grain releases flavor quickly. Trancais oak with tight grain works slower, more subtle. Over the years, the spirit extracts vanillin from the wood, picks up tannins that soften with time. Caramel notes emerge. The liquid darkens from clear to amber to deep mahogany. 2 years minimum makes it legally cognac. Most producers age it far longer. What nobody tells you is how the age labels actually work. VS means very special, requiring just 2 years of aging. VSOP needs 4 years. XO demands at least 10. Sounds straightforward, but where it gets strange is those numbers only measure the youngest spirit in the blend. Your XO bottle might contain spirits aged 30, 40, even 50 years. Or it might be mostly 10-year-old liquid with just a splash of older spirit for complexity. The label shows you the floor, not the ceiling. And that rich amber color you associate with aged spirits? Up to 2% can legally come from caramel coloring. A younger cognac can look identical to one aged twice as long. The industry calls it consistency. Critics call it deception. 400 years ago, traders just wanted wine that wouldn't spoil on their ships. They had no idea they were creating one of the world's most tightly regulated spirits. Today, production is controlled by strict laws specifying exactly which grapes, exactly where to grow them, exactly how to distill and age. The chalky Charente soil, the maritime climate, the specific forests providing the oak, all protected by geography, enforced by law. What started as a shipping hack became 16 generations of careful refinement. That mediocre grape? Still the same today. Those accidental discoveries? Now precise science. The angel's share still claims its portion every year. So next time you see that amber bottle behind a bar, you're not looking at a luxury product designed to impress wealthy people. You're looking at 4 centuries of accidents, stubbornness, and patience. Wine that nobody wanted to drink. Grapes that sommeliers would reject. Liquid that slowly vanishes into thin air, year after year. 2 spirits started the exact same way, as burnt wine on a Dutch ship. One stayed simple. One became this. So, which story is sitting in your glass right now?